we were talking last night at dinner, and you know, have an opportunity. I didn't play with Rob, but I was as a fan, and then obviously playing with y'all too meant so much to me, even more as a man than even an athlete, right? Because the values that I learned being around y'all and the professionalism that you guys had, and I remember it was always kid. You know, every time I was upset about not playing or whatever it may be, giving away my jersey or being late for the bus, learning so much through this process, and to be back here in town and be around you guys means a lot, especially with this being my first Blazer game post-career.
Oh, wow.
Right? I come back a lot because my wife's from here, but just a different feeling when you get an opportunity to come back and see some of the old faces, and from the organization standpoint, from the city standpoint, also from a player standpoint.
It's been good. Like coming here, I haven't been to Portland in a while, and just to even when we were just driving over here, just reminiscing, about everything, the game, the city, teammates, and it's great to see you guys. Like I haven't seen Dud in a while, but Dud was a teammate. We got a bunch of stories, but he was a great teammate. I was with Brian in Miami, and we were under it's so interesting about me and Brian because we were in Miami and when it was a struggle.
Yeah.
0-12, and we had the bond and keep it together, and so I remember those moments. Then I remember Jermaine O'Neal as a high school player coming into Portland, and that's when that was kind of newish, the high school guys coming in, and then I remember just seeing him blossom, right? So I've always been a fan, and the way all three of you guys have carried yourself, so they taught you well because you carry yourself well. So it's just good to be back here and see you guys.
Yeah, I don't know if I had a chance to say thank you to y'all. Like it is a, people don't understand value sometimes in the sport, right? Because you live so much into the day, and when you get an opportunity to come back and say, I appreciate everything you guys have done. Obviously, BG, you've had a long relationship. Had some incredible battles even post, but all that was prepared for all the tail whippings I took in practice against you guys. Right? And so it's just good being back here, man.
Well, since you're starting off with tail whippings, I'm sure if Rashid was here right now, he'd be right there with me. All the whoopings we took in practice. It was really hard for you. That team was so loaded with talent.
Yes.
Our practices were just all-out wars each and every day, and you was tearing us up every day, and then to not get the playing time, from the hard work you was putting in at practice, I kept telling you, stick with it. Your time's gonna come. As soon as you went to Indiana, I told everybody, watch, boom, and you took off, man, and I was so proud of you because. Being in this league 12 years, you see guys like that in that position who just fall off and, feel sorry for themselves and don't keep working, but you kept working. And then Rod, just having a chance to play with you in Miami was golden because, all the players I played against, you the best finisher I've ever seen.
I told him that last night.
It don't matter. When you went to the hole, you wasn't going to get fouled.
It was
and a lot of times it was going to be and one. So I had a great time. And then Dud just, we had some battles. When I was in Sacramento coming up here against all y'all, man, it was some battles. But, the work that we're doing outside of basketball means a lot to me. I love coming out to your camp and speaking and what you're doing for all those kids.
It's been Brian's been come out to the camp. 25 years we've had the camp for kids with type 1 diabetes, and Brian's been out there a number of years. Right. And he's just always the highlight of the week. Comes out and connects with the kids, and you said you see him all over the place now, right? So it's fun. It's fun seeing these faces, and Jermaine going back to when you were. I remember we were a vet team, and you were. 17, 18, and I remember thinking, man, 17, 18, what's he going to do? Because you think back where you were at 17, 18. I wasn't, there's no way. And so it was a good group because we put the wood on you, it beat you up a little bit, but everybody could tell your day was coming. There was no question your day was coming. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, it was interesting that that team changed literally almost every year that I was here. And if a 17-year-old right out of high school from Columbia, South Carolina, this is the perfect place for me to come.
Yeah.
Right, it was like my college one-on-one where I had an opportunity to learn at a pace that was really conducive to me mentally and emotionally. Everybody can't go to LA. Everybody can't go to New York right away and be successful. I came to a town that was a one sports town, city.
Yeah.
And I was really blessed to learn from so many great pros through the 4 years that I was here. And
I thought you had a good background coming in.
Yeah.
You for 17, you were mature, or you just had good philosophy about life and just good values.
Who was the coach?
Coach Glenn.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean.
That's right. Your coach would come up, right?
Coach,
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But even talking about that, I don't think you even understand at that time, coming in as a 17-year-old, like you were with vets.
Yeah.
It wasn't like now, youngins coming in with
Yeah.
youngins. You were coming
Yeah,
in
with vets.
that
Yeah.
era of vets where, you had that.
Buck Williams and
Yeah.
Brian Graham.
Yeah, that's a
Sheed.
whole different
Yeah.
ball game,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was big, And I think about my time here, and it's so funny because I came here right after the two championship runs. Right. So I came in that next year, and I came in as a free agent. So everyone was back, the whole starting five, and then Cliff Robinson was coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Mark Bryant was coming off the bench, and then they brought me and Mario in.
Yeah.
So we were 9 deep, right? So I'm excited. I'm coming off the bench. I just come from starting, but I'm coming off the bench because I'm going to the run-up, champions.
Yeah.
And so I was so excited, and I got in. I think we started out 8-0, and I was like, we're gonna have a big year. Like we're gonna get back there. And Clyde Drexler got hurt.
That's right.
And then that's when everything kind of started changing. He came back. I started starting. Terry started coming off the bench, but it just was different.
Yeah.
But we had a moment where I thought we was gonna have a really big moment. We had some great years here, great playoff series and games.
Yeah.
But I just never, I always remember that, playing with Clyde and God bless Jerome Kersey.
Yeah.
Just a quick story about Jerome Kersey, because we all know Jerome
Yeah.
Kersey does not play.
Yeah.
But I never forget being in a practice one day and he wasn't getting calls. And he's hot, he's steaming, and you know how he looked.
Yeah.
And
I can see it.
I'll never forget, I got the rebound, I'm dribbling down, and the next thing you know, I'm on the floor. Like he just tackled me, and I got up and went about my business. Like I'm not messing, but all those moments, Duckworth, yourself, but it was some great years here in Portland.
Yeah.
Outside of getting drafted in Denver, having the first game in Denver and getting in the game was probably one moment, but I think the career high moment against one of my idols growing up was Sean Kemp in Seattle. It was the first game that I scored 20 in a game. I actually blocked him. It was one of those surreal moments that you grow up and I watched his highlight tape literally before every high school game. He was like one of my favorite players, and getting an opportunity to play against him and having a good game against him was probably one of my favorite moments.
I think for me, the one it was really so many highlights playing on this team. It was a highlight every game with different players, but the most memorable one for me was after the altercation in Utah, being able to come back here in Portland, come out and see how fired up our fans were, and then to go out there and be able to guard Karl Malone and hold him to 8 points in 46 minutes. That was my highlight. And then after the game, getting complimented by him, because that's what I patterned my game after was Karl, and that memory sticks with me above all of them.
I don't know if I have one memory. I have a few, just kind of a few. I remember coming in as a free agent, meeting with Jeff Petrie and then Rick Adelman, and I thought they were both real cool and good relationship. Loved the team, was sold on the environment. Great experience. And I remember early when I first got here, because being a free agent, you know how this is where you always feel like you got to prove yourself. And I had a game against the Clippers, who weren't great then, but I think I had more points and rebounds than their team in the first for the game, or not for the game, but for first quarter or first half, whatever. I had a really good game. I forget what it was. Clyde came up to me after, he said, all right, now you got to do that every now I want to see that every night. But then you just remember in some of the playoff games here, just beating the Lakers here, just how excited everybody got, and just around town you would just see in the buildings, you'd see Blazers everywhere, and that was cool. That was really cool, just seeing the support. And then what you really remember is the friendships, and just remember, I remember going out after game with Rod and Harvey and Cliff and whatever. Yeah, we're keeping those quiet, but and then just the memory, with like you said, Jerome, good friend, and rest in peace. Seeing Terry and Clyde, that was a great group. And then just afterwards, continuing that on and having Brian come out to camp. So it was just a kind of an assortment of memories rather than one moment.
I'm kind of like Chris with that. I think my biggest memory was probably Rick Adelman.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was great. Like
Yeah.
he kind of helped me like build myself.
Yeah.
Right? So when I came here, I was a point guard. I always had the ball in my hands. When I came to Portland, he started having me come off ball screens. I mean, not ball screens, but coming off down screens, shooting jumpers, getting in the lane. Then he had me posting up, which is an interesting story because it started out as a joke.
Yeah.
We were playing Muggsy Bogues, and he was like, "Hey, you post up Muggsy?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll post Muggsy up," And he said, "All right," and he did it, and then that just stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember his encouragement. I remember being in a playoff game in Houston, and I mean, we were here, we playing against Houston, and I was struggling, shooting the ball. And I remember him pulling me over, like, I don't care how many shots you miss, you better take every shot that's open. So, to have someone like that, and I'm this young guy, but I'm kind of up and coming, but to have that kind of momentum and confidence behind you, like, that was big for me. So he kind of helped me, like, round out my game, even my jump shot. I went in the summer league. Jeff Petrie was part of this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I went in the summer league and I played with the rookies. Like I was kind of established little young vet at the time, but I went and played with the rookies in rookie summer league just to work on the jump. I wouldn't shoot a layup or anything. So those guys, this place, kind of helped, like make me who I kind of became. Like this was kind of that foundation. So that's the biggest memories here.
It's interesting. I want to get you guys' opinion on, obviously, there's a lot of history at the table. You've been around the game a long time. There's a lot of conversation out there about then versus now, right? What are some of your opinions about, where the game is today versus when we were coming through this thing?
Wow. I could talk all day about that, right? But I'm going to try to make it short.
I'll say real quick before you go. He was on the deck all the time. I mean, he was, like you said, best finisher ever, and just his body control. But he would get roughed up. Today,
it's different.
You play 30 years
because I'm gonna create all the contact, and that's the difference. And I like that part of the open. Like I would love to be in this era, playing in that open court. And now it's just you, and then I get by you, and everybody's out there, and now I got to figure it out. I'm gonna beat you. You know what I mean? But it's different because of the three-point line. It's become this shooter's game. I think it's also become a situation where you have some of the great players who have the individual talent, but everybody else kind of becomes cookie cutter. You know what I mean? So the individuality has kind of changed a little bit overall. Then you don't, the mid-range is like taboo. And I always tell young players, just in general about the game, is have an understanding of what it really is. It's a three-point. You have to be able to shoot, like in this era, you have to be able to shoot. But don't stop your creativity. Don't stop, like watch some of the pass. Like, remember you got to make some layups. You got to fight through contact and make layups. That mid-range shot is going to help you at some point in time because everybody's going to come push out at that three, and now if you have something different, that makes you more valuable. Exactly. So the game has changed, and I understand it, but I'm hoping this generation, that's why I love Ja Morant, right? Because he's different. Like, because you hear people say, like, if you can't shoot three, you gotta and it's almost like you're making guys who can't shoot threes, right? And to me, I say, that puts you at a disadvantage. Like, you think you're gonna make it because you're shooting threes and you can't shoot threes. So I like watching Ja Morant. So the game has changed, but I'm hoping, the next generation or this generation keep creativity.
With me, being a post player and the way that we played, now I look at today's game and I wonder, could I survive in this era? Because, my first 3 years in the league coming up here, I was getting beat up by you, Duckworth, Buck, Jerome, Mark Bryant. You had to be able to get out there and mix it up. And I can remember right over here at the Coliseum going across the lane my rookie year, and Buck just caught me right in the mouth. Boom, hit the floor, and he just goes, "Welcome to the NBA, Rook." and I looked at the ref, Joey Crawford just said, "Don't look at me." So, that's kind of the era that we were in. But I'm starting to get used to the new era. I think there's a ton of talent, man. There's guys I love to watch. And you talk about people being able to get to the rim. Kyrie Irving, shoot. That cat is, when I see him play, I see you going down through there, finishing. And so it was an adjustment. I think at first I was like, it's soft, but guys can't play the way we played and, hit somebody a little bit, that's $10,000.
Right.
Whereas us, it had to really go to blows before it was a fine.
Yeah, right.
So they're playing within the confines that the league has left for them, and, I'm starting to really get used to it.
Yeah. No, I love the skills today. I think the players are coming out more and more skilled. The softness is, the old school. You say you do wonder times how guards would do with back in the day where you could have a hand on somebody and control them, and then if they came down the middle, they got touched up. How certain guys would do, but I think players adapt, and you adapt. And I think to your point on the mid range, what happens with adapting is now you're gonna defensively you're gonna hug the one, you run them off the line.
Right.
Now what? Can you finish?
Right.
And so I think there's a piece for. It doesn't help you to shoot 20% from three.
Right.
I'd rather shoot 50% from two. So you got to be able to do a little bit of both. And I think the good players adapt. It's been fun. The thing that's changed that sometimes I think can be a negative today is where guys come in so young and they're not always as skilled. Where guys in our era had 3-4 years of college and came in more ready. Like you said, when you came in, that's why it's so amazing how you did when you were young, because you came in, most guys had been in the league, were established. You weren't going against other guys who were 19 or 20. You were going against guys who were 26, 28, 25, 34 in their prime. So.
Yeah, I think me personally, the game has changed. I do believe that the kids are more athletic, than ever. Super strong, super explosive. I think the thing that I personally don't like is that if I was playing against a friend, whether Brian or Rashid or whoever else it may be, you can never tell that we were friends during the game.
That's true.
Right now, you got people, hey, call me. Hey, they don't really want to go as hard amongst their peers that they're friends with. And I think that part is the one that I don't like. I think the evolution of the game is always going to be that. It's going to continue to happen. And I like guys like Joel Embiid.
They play too many games sometimes. And with AAU, it's like you go there, you got 5 games that weekend. Oh, we just lost this one. Oh, well, it's all right. We got another one coming up. When I grew up, I'm sure, you went to playground, wherever. You lost, you had to sit out 45 minutes before you got back on the floor. It was a war out there.
Yeah, but what's funny about that, like, we played a lot of games back then. Like, I remember growing up in New York City, we go from tournament to tournament. Like, in that same day, we might have 3 championship games. Like, so we played a lot. But the difference is, like you said, it was competitive.
It was competitive.
Like, if you lost, it meant, like, so there was no games where, and that was just a mindset, but there was no games where it didn't matter.
No.
Right? Because you had a coach that pushed you. I think that's one of the luckiest things. I always tell people, like, I appreciate my AAU coach so much now. Like, when I see him, I'm like, we just didn't appreciate you. You know what I mean? Because he taught me how to compete, how to care about my teammates. And those things helped me, right? So all the other things, like, on that court, I knew how to compete. I knew that I had to take care of my teammates. So if somebody wasn't shooting well, or, like, it was a thought process. Like, how do I get him off or whatever. So
I think the separation in the culture is when we were playing back then, it was strictly for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Now it's about style,
Yeah.
right? It's about what you're wearing, it's about things that
And the money.
are away from the game
Yeah.
that is being highlighted more than ever now because of the
True.
social media component,
Right.
And so I think that's what the difference is now between when we came up and when in the era that these guys are playing in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we had to take steps, right? Like when I was in junior high school, I never thought like I was a pro, but I love Dr. J and Magic Johnson.
right.
So then I become a high school player, and I'm like, I'm getting better. Oh, I want to get to college. I want to top college.
Yeah.
Then I get to college, and then it's like, okay, now I'm a pro. So I had steps, so I had anxiety. So I always was trying to get better and better. Nowadays, you give them so much so soon that it's almost like they already made it.
Yep.
And now as you
To their
move up,
detriment a lot of times too.
because now you can't handle adversity.
No.
So as soon as you get a whiff of that, it's almost
Yeah.
like it's your fault.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where we had to figure it out.
We had to figure it out.
But we talked about this on the way over here. Is it starts at the youth level,
Yeah.
right? Like these kids feel so, like they feel like, and really the parents think that the people owe them something before they really can even dribble, right? And so they just grow up in that environment and get to the NBA,
And I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the parents and feel bad for the kids where they get so much attention and they get so many in the recruiting we were talking about where people promising them stuff. And if they don't work out, they just, all right, on to the next. But they need to know it's like we all came up, it was harder.
It was hard.
And people weren't just blowing up your ego. You came in, you had to battle. You had to battle to
We
get
were
through.
ready to battle. We were ready to battle. Even though you were top, I came out of high school top 5, 10, but I knew there was somebody at the ball that was freshman.
Yeah.
Like I knew I had to get on the court and I got to make a statement
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like right away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? No jokey, no, I'm the guy, like right away.
Exactly.